Messianic 7 News Perspective based on world news events surrounding modern-day Israel and the Jewish people. What the Torah holds for us, what is happening to the Gentiles, God's plan for the entire planet revolves around the physical and spiritual restoration of Israel and the consequent return of the Messiah Yeshua. Whether or not the nations realize it, world events are swirling around Israel and God's agenda, not the other way around. It is our hope that we can connect for you the prophetic dots between God's plan for mankind, Israel, and today's news based on Yeshua, who is our true Messiah. Stay tuned as Messianic 7 News present to you latest update. We are on God's timeline, Israel's promised future, reaching the scattered lost tribes of Israel.
Concerning the preparations for the temple service, the Sanhedrin has taken steps necessary for reinstating future temple service. One project of the group has been the planting of the biblical temple forest, which will serve the agricultural needs of the Third Temple. Rabbi Hillel Weiss, spokesman for the Sanhedrin, explained that the temple provided a link between the land and the divine.
When people think about sacrifices, they think about animals and blood, but most were from plants grown around Israel.
Rabbi Richman, also a member of the Sanhedrin, has been heading a project to restore the sacred red heifer to Israel. According to Numbers 19, the ashes of the red heifer mixed with water are a necessary element for purifying Jews to enable them to do service in the temple. During the time of the First and Second Temples, a span of approximately 1,000 years, only 9 red heifers were used in preparing the waters used to purify Jews. According to Jewish tradition, the 10th one will be used by the Messiah. Richman and other rabbis of the Temple Institute are providing halakhic supervision and guidance in partnership with an Israeli cattleman who is an expert in the science of animal husbandry. He is utilizing the technique of implanting the frozen embryos of the red Angus cattle, which originally come from North America, into Israeli domestic cattle. A red heifer cannot be transported to Israel for use in the red heifer ceremony, because the animal cannot have ever worn a yoke, and must be born in the land of Israel. The project is the culmination of years of research at the Temple Institute that fuses ancient religious texts and modern science. The Sanhedrin and the Temple movement also hold reenactments of temple ceremonies for the training of those who are from the priestly class known as Kahanim. This training involves special schooling on the duties of the priests, the use of ritual vessels created for use in the Third Temple, and practice on a newly constructed altar of burnt offering. This altar is unique because it was designed to be disassembled and quickly reassembled in its proper permanent location. Because the people of Israel are required to build an altar exclusively on the site of the original altar on Mount Moriah, the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount, when the time is right, it will be reassembled on the mount in the temple, enabling the sacrificial service to be resumed without delay. For Orthodox Jews committed to re-establishing the temple, both the present problems of the world and the problems faced by the Jewish people will be solved only by rebuilding the Third Temple. Another recent rediscovery of the Temple Institute has been the revival of the science of producing biblical crimson. This dye was used in the garments of the high priest, the parochet, the massive curtain that separated the Holy of Holies from the holy place in the temple, and was an ingredient used in the mixture combined with ashes of the red heifer. Professor Zohar Amar of Bar Ilan University discovered that the eggs of the tolat shadi crimson worm found in modern Israel would produce the crimson dye. While the temple movement continues to prepare for the rebuilding of the temple, most understand that some political action must take place to reverse the present situation of control of the mount by Muslims, in order to allow for Jewish access. This currently may be in process. Concerning the site, Israel's Supreme Court has stated in its ruling opinion on the issue of the works on the Temple Mount. The reality on the Temple Mount is by no means simple. It is extremely delicate and complicated. This is one of those cases in which a judicial ruling is not the reasonable way to decide the dispute, and a decision of this kind goes beyond the boundaries of the law. It is the political echelon, and not the court, that must give content and meaning to the historical call. The Temple Mount is ours. In other words, this must be a political not legal, action. Those who understand Daniel's prophecy of the 70th week, Daniel 9:27, know that it is a future political leader, the Antichrist of Revelation 13, who will one day make a deceptive covenant with the Jewish leaders, leading to the rebuilding of the Third Temple. Those who seek to understand biblical prophecy know that the Antichrist will be followed by both political and religious leaders. Making this kind of proposal a reality. It is exciting to see these developments unfold in the land of Israel, regarding the building of a third temple, as we eagerly watch for the second coming of our Messiah. Is there any sign of preparation for a third temple in Israel today? Since 1987, when the temple movement began preparations for the rebuilding of the third temple, efforts to see this become a reality in the 21st century have been slowly progressing. While modern Israel and a large percentage of the Jewish people throughout the diaspora are secular, Orthodox Jews do not believe these people will play a role in the rebuilding of the temple, since it is a spiritual work. It is Orthodox Jews who revived the Sanhedrin, the religious body that supervised the halakhic legal issues related to the temple, and who intend to see it rebuilt in a proper way. In 2014, the Temple Mount Heritage Foundation was formed with four main aims. We seek to strengthen the connection between the people of Israel and the Temple Mount, increase awareness on the rebuilding of the temple, secure the site for the temple, basing on the importance and centrality of the Temple Mount, encourage visits to the Temple Mount in a manner appropriate to halakha Jewish law, and offer educational activities relating to the Temple Mount, including lectures, workshops, classes, and tours. The importance to Orthodox Jews of rebuilding the temple lies in its role in the redemption of the world, which they believe can only take place once the temple is rebuilt. Subscribe to this channel and support us to find out what the signs of the times have to say about where we are on God's timeline and what you can do to become a part of Prophesies Fulfilled.
Messianic 7 News perspective based on world news events surrounding modern-day Israel and the Jewish people. What the Torah holds for us, what is happening to the Gentiles. God's plan for the entire planet revolves around the physical and spiritual restoration of Israel and the consequent return of the Messiah Yeshua. Whether or not the nations realize it, world events are swirling around Israel and God's agenda, not the other way around. It is our hope that we can connect for you the prophetic dots between God's plan for mankind, Israel, and today's news based on Yeshua, who is our true Messiah.